Good morning, Service Lines community. How are you all doing today? What's up, buddy?
Oh, just relaxing on a little bit of a good little vacation for, a little over a week.
Yeah,
Well, it's coming up on a week now, but we still got a few more days left. I start Monday. It's my first day. Slowly back.
nice. Yeah, I gotta take that time to rest and recharge, change of pace, change of place. All the good stuff.
100%. Super important.
I feel like I need a rest after yesterday. Oh goodness gracious! It'll be fun to get into that topic, but all I wanted to do was ride my bicycle yesterday. It's the one thing I didn't get done. Oh well. Oh well. Oh,
Those days happen.
yeah. So you said that background is from your pricing book or something?
Yeah, with like Service Titan, you can like customize your price book, which normally they have all the HVAC stuff and they have all the logos getting into each little deal and I have like subcategories and stuff. But I'm building up the appliance side of things. I want it to look just as good as their pro stuff for their HVAC. So had pictures for, because of course we have like our appliance price book, which is this is the cover of it, and then it has the subcategories like washer, dryers, refrigerators, and then I have a picture for each one of those categories also.
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, so super customizable, so if anyone would ever jump over to Service Titan, I'm doing a price book, build out, on it where they can probably copy my appliance stuff and put it over on yours, because every part that we're selling, we're adding into our price book. So the next time we have that part, it'll already be there. So of
That's
course,
awesome.
it already has the price and everything. So eventually, I don't know, maybe I can get rid of our flat rate price book with my parts help.
So that actually brought to mind a good thing for me. I met with a company that's going from HVAC and they're adding in appliance. They're not doing it like you, where they're appliance and adding an HVAC. So how's your invoicing set up in there? Like, is it like, so I had a template that I did in house call and I shared it with EJ, and then EJ went and tweaked the template that I gave him. How does that all?
So they have it broken down in units,
Okay.
and you can change your invoice completely, between one unit to the other. So if you have, and it's really good, like if you have different warranties on different things that you do, like just for like your line item signature and stuff. So I can have a separate warranty for my appliance stuff. I can have a separate warranty for my commercial stuff. No one wants to offer a crazy long warranty on a commercial appliance repair. That can
Right.
be, your standard 90 days, 30 days, whatever. But then you're offering your other stuff on your other appliances.
That's cool.
That's what made it really nice compared to like Rossware, where everything was the same. So I had to like put in disclaimers, on it,
Yeah, I mean
it's commercial.
we had to do
So
that with house call. So
yeah,
that's good to
it's
know.
really nice, and I'm kind of curious if I ever open up a second location, then I could just create another unit. It could be for appliances slash this state, and you can change your phone number, you can change your address, like all
Nice.
of it. Every unit it's completely customizable.
I like that they're starting to work with smaller companies. I'm gonna see if I can get Tom Howard and Tyson Freeman to come on the podcast. I know both of them. Really cool guys, really smart guys. So I'm gonna see if I can get them to come on the podcast. But I know
Well,
when
that's
we looked at it 6 years ago, Service Titan was like, "You ain't got 10 people, we don't care. Bye." And it sounds like
yeah.
that paradigm is kind of shift.
I think
Probably
it's
because House Call was nipping at their heels with that. Like they kind of realized we should probably begin to change that model a little bit? I don't know. I'm not
I
sure.
almost feel like, a little bit of it is they're pricey. Like, there's no way around it.
Yeah,
They're expensive. They're like the most expensive software company.
for sure.
And I think they were just wanting to not set you up for failure because they think a lot of appliance companies don't make a lot of money.
Sure.
So,
And that's
350
true for
bucks.
some. That is
Yeah.
true for some.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, some of their add-ons and stuff are crazy, but they're very productive. Like I just did their marketing pro, and it's like 2 grand a month, if you wanted to do
Nice.
that. But they will do mail outs to your customers. Like they will email, like if you have a job that you did not sell, it'll automatically email them. Like you can change it up where it's a day
That's
or two
awesome.
days or 5 days. It'll automatically email them if they made a decision, if they still, if they thought about the repair. Just cool little follow ups like that, which I think should
Follow-up
be
marketing
standard.
is important, and when you can automate it, it's even more important. That's
Yep.
I actually was talking with my friend Jen on a live stream in the middle of the day the other day about the follow-up marketing and turning a
Yeah.
warranty customers into COD customers. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool that Service Titan does that.
My main thing, like on it, that I just kind of like put my brain around it is it's able to offer memberships to customers, which I utilize. And I just think of that money that brings in for those memberships, each technician that pays for pays for Service Titan for that month, and we do enough of them to where, it's plenty there over, to pay for the software that's extra that I
Nice.
wasn't doing on my old software.
Nice. I'll have to connect you with these guys up here. They asked me about training, and I started going through stuff, and I said, "Listen, I would rather be a residential HVAC tech than appliance repair tech." And they're kind of looking at me, and so I started breaking down like some of the stuff, and they went, "Oh, oh, okay." I'm like, I'm not discouraging you from doing it. I think you have the capability to do it, but like here's the initial pitfalls that you kind of need to look out for as you're going from this type of thinking and this type of technician into this other
Yeah.
area. So yeah, I want to connect them
Yeah.
with you. But
First call completes are not as easy as it is with a residential HVAC.
yeah, they're not as easy as they once were in appliances either. So, you know.
Yeah.
Samsung. So there's
I
two ways
would
to handle this, and I've done it both ways, and it depends on the customer. You go ahead and answer first, and I will see if I'm going to answer.
um I would take care of it. I mean, I've done it, more so, even now, because I always offered a 3-year part warranty and a 1-year labor warranty. So I actually moved that over for my membership club, to get that better warranty. And then I dropped down to just a standard warranty that's a 90 days parts and labor. But if it's anything close, I would the parts under warranty. So you get longer of a 90-day warranty through the manufacturer. I would just eat it, take care of the customer. And I would still do that for a non-member, and then I would just let them know, hey, my membership does include a better warranty, so next time, look into that. My starting membership's $100, so it's kind of worth it on that side of things.
So the
But
way I handled it is if it was past 90 and they didn't treat my CSR like crap, it was no issue. We went out. But if they were ignorant and they were rude, listen, you're past the 90-day warranty. If they were at 101 or 120 days or something like that, if it was close, we would say, listen, we're going to come out and take a look at it. If it's our part that's failed, no problem. We'll cover it. If it's something new, you are going to be responsible because you are past the warranty if the customer was rude. If they were a polite customer, we'd, cut them a break some which way. But it was really dependent on how the customer was. You're a dick. You're getting treated as such.
And another one too on that one, Alex, is like, was that an OEM drain pump or is that an aftermarket one? That's just something in your playbook on what other way you fall. I've just had a lot of issues with aftermarket washer pumps, along with aftermarket Samsung heating elements that just don't hold up. So that might be something that you won't even get in that situation if you just go ahead and do the OEM pumps.
Good deal. All right, well, let's pray it in real quick. And I got a couple of verses for us talking about our topic. So here we go. Dear Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this time together. I'm grateful my brother Travis got to get away and relax and recharge with his family. And Father, we pray for the guys down at PSA as they are continuing to help elevate the industry. Father, we just pray that you be with all of those around the country watching that are out there serving their customers well and loving their customers well. Father, we thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
She was super nicely. Spiders come apart. OEM pump from, yeah, that
So one
happens.
thing, yep, one thing that I always check, especially on like if you have suspicions that the spider's coming apart, is just rotate that tub and just grab the metal inner tub and then with your other hand hold down on the outer tub and lift kind of up and down. There shouldn't be play, and then just rotate a little bit more. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you'll hear like a small little crackle. It takes time to get used to it, but you can just feel the smallest crack that it's starting to go. Like I know I'll go out on stuff after my texts do, and they don't realize it. I'm like, dude, the tub's breaking. Like,
Yeah. Well, and that's how I could tell bearings were blown up. I would do that same thing. I would put my thumb underneath and I would put my finger and I would just sit there. And if I
yeah,
could get a good, half inch to an inch, right? Or again, like you said, you hear that crackle is gone. She don't.
yeah.
So, all right. So we're talking about disappointment. How do you handle disappointment? How do you mitigate some of the issues that come up? And I'll launch into my story after I read through the verses. Luke 14:28 and 33. For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he's laid a foundation, is not able to finish. All who see it will begin to mock him, saying, "This man began to build a tower and was not able to finish." Or what king would go out and encounter another king in war and not sit down and first deliberate whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So basically, planning ahead, preparing ahead, looking at the cost of what it's going to take to get done. Planning is good. Doesn't always work, but it's the best way to minimize some of the issues that come, obviously. James 4:13 and 15. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow, we're going to go to such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit, yet do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you're a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, and we will live and do this or do that. And James 1:2-4. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you might be mature, complete, and not lacking. So the first two, we're talking about planning ahead and preparing ahead to the best of your ability, realizing that stuff is going to happen and the best laid plans may not always succeed. And the third verse is, that's okay. Just keep moving, right? So yesterday, I was sharing with Rob and Travis. I set out, all I wanted to do was ride my bike. So I wiped out the other day. If you follow me on social, I crossed the street and my tires they're a little slick. They're skinnier tires, and it's fall in Illinois, and so there's acorns everywhere, and so I just ate it. Right, busted up my knee, which is better. Just little skin. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna change out the tires for the little better tires. It's time. It's 500 miles on cheap Chinese tires. So it's time to change that out. Well, I couldn't find my core tool. So I started cleaning the garage. Started cleaning the garage, meant I started cleaning the toolbox and throwing stuff away. Started doing that meant, hey, I should probably put the lights in the toolbox that I've been meaning to do, that I pulled out of a scrapped commercial refrigerator. Oh, that means that I got to put in an outlet. Oh, I don't have this switch. Oh, I don't have this outlet, or I needed drywall screws. I don't have drywall screws. So a full day of cleaning, organizing, moving everything around. I still couldn't find the stupid core tool. I still didn't have the screws. So I take a trip to the auto parts store, and I take a trip to Menards. I end up with more crap than I wanted. I'm like, oh, hey, I should probably plastic dip these. I have these clamps that I use for backdrops and stuff like that. And the rubber, It's just cheap rubber. It falls off. I'm like, all right, I'm going to plastic dip them because I'm tired of losing them and scratching stuff. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get that stuff. And I got some rusted tools that I need to clean up. And so, just this whole, thing, right? So I come home, I finish the outlet, I finish the lights, garage is looking better. All this stuff is done, right? Sounds like a super productive day. I switch my tires over, right? I get the first one, I put the tube in, I put the and the stupid thing will not inflate. So I spent this whole day on this ADD fueled, because that's exactly, I was telling Rob, he goes, dude, that sounds like one of my ADD days. I'm like, you don't even understand, dude. It was ADD, and it was not like, it was so exhausting. If you don't have ADD and you don't understand the rabbit holes that it can take you down, it can be a very, very exhausting day. So all I wanted to do was ride my bike, and I couldn't inflate my tires, and I couldn't ride my bike. And I just was so defeated at 6:00 last night. Just and I sent it to Travis, and Travis goes, well, it looks like you got a lot of mini projects done. And I went,
take the small wins. I was like, Zach, take the small wins, because you know what? That'll help out on another day when you see it, and you're, hey, now it looks good.
So, and that's the thing, the best laid plans, right? All I wanted to do was at 9:00 in the morning, I want to find that core tool so I could change my tires out and go for a bike ride. And then the day just went from there. So I didn't have my day actually planned out. I didn't have anything on the plans. My plan was to ride my bike and then just kind of putter around the house. Well, because my calendar wasn't filled, the day just went away with itself in the way that it does, right? And then I ended the day with some disappointment. And so that's what we're talking about today. How do you process through? Because these things happen in business. I know there's a bunch of business owners out there. Normally, ADD, it's my superpower, right? I can use it to accomplish a ton of tasks and get a lot of stuff done, and I flip the negative into a positive. And yesterday, boy, yeah. And having brothers around that can encourage you, brothers or sisters around that can go, dude, yeah, it wasn't what you wanted, but you had wins. Look at how clean and organized you got.
It looked good. You sent me the picture, and I'm like, man, I was like, big accomplish right there. If I had to clean the garage, but it is one of those things. You set out to conquer a specific task, and it doesn't matter how many other tasks that you complete in that day. If you don't complete that one, it just irks you, which is a good thing, and in a sense too, especially business wise, like you want to achieve that, you're disappointed when you don't achieve something, so it's not the whatever mentality or the procrastination mentality of like, I'll just get to it tomorrow, because, then that will, you know, that has its own issues, it's
Well,
tough,
and the whole reason the garage was messy for me, right? Like that was just procrastination. Like I've been supposed to put that outlet in for 7 years.
See, everything happens for a reason. You got to look on the bright side on certain
Oh, for
things.
sure. And so like how do we work through that in our business? Well, it starts with having clear goals. We talk about goals all the time. Have them very clear. Have your 10-year and your 5-year, right? Those are far off goals. Those are not goals that you're going to achieve. And then begin to work your way backwards. Okay, that's where I want to be in 5 or 10 years. Lord willing, right? We heard that in James 4:13 and 15. Lord willing, this is where I want to be in 5 or 10 years. Okay. So then you begin to work backwards and create that backwards, right? So then you have 1-year goals and 6-month goals. You might even have quarterly, daily, weekly, whatever type of goals. Write them down. I cannot stress that enough. Write your goals down. I don't care if you whiteboard it. Right. I have more of these field books than I can count. And they're for specific things, right? They're for specific goals. I will write specific goals in a specific book. How do I process through it? And that's just for me. That's how I keep organized. But write them down, get them in front of your face, and look at them every day. Check in.
Yep.
Have I made progress? Have I done this? What am I doing to achieve my goals?
And don't be discouraged if you don't achieve the goal. Go back to the drawing board and say, what can I do to achieve it? You might have to push that one off a little bit and do something a little differently to achieve that goal.
Consciously curious.
Yep. Things are always changing. You got to pivot with certain things and make quick, decisive choices. You just can't sit around and not make any choice. That's going to put you in neutral. You just want to go forward.
And you can't do that without the map of goals, right? If you don't have the goals, you can't ask yourself the question, what went well and what didn't go well? What can I improve? What was just beyond my control, right? Like there's a lot of things that can happen in business and in goals, whether it's personal or business goals. But if you don't have the map, how do you know? Like, how are you able to check in and know what went wrong, what you need? Maybe you don't need to do anything. Maybe it was just literally circumstances outside of your control, and you just need to keep grinding along, right? Perseverance, grit, and continue plugging along. It's just the way it is, right?
And there's stuff that is out of your control, but still in your control. You're going to have stuff that's going to hit you all the time. Be prepared the next time it can happen. It could be a vehicle accident. It could be just an angry customer out of nowhere. They're just having a bad day. There's so much in this industry that can pop up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. It'll sweep you away. I mean, it'll sweep you away. I can't count how many days in appliance repair I would have days just like I did in my garage, right? My garage was just a great illustration of how a business day can go. But I mean, let's go through that. You don't set your intention for a day and you go into the office and then all of a sudden your CSR has a list of 15 phone calls that you have to answer, but you're supposed to be on a job by 8:00. And then your technician calls in and says, oh, I just got into an accident in the company vehicle on my way to the first call. And then your other technician calls and says, hey, my kid is sick, I can't come in today. And then, you know what I mean? Like, you can see how you can just all of a sudden get swooped away. And that's like a big exaggeration of a day. But some of us have had days like
Oh
that.
yeah. And you just have to slow it down and do one task at a time. You're only one person. You can only do so much in one day. So some stuff just has to be delegated or just, you know, you got to figure out what's the most important thing in the business. Either it's taking care of customers and just, having to take care of those phone calls later. Just depends, but you're going to have to delegate your time, especially when you have a mountain of tasks and such little time. Um, that's why I tell technicians, especially on busy days, take one call at a time, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so I wish there was a way that they like don't see if they had like 8 calls on their list or whatever. And
Yeah.
there's some larger companies and they do it for a reason where they will just have one call and then they finish that call up and then the company adds another call just so they don't get too ahead of themselves. And it's very easy to get in your mind on that.
Twofold, by the way, that is twofold. You have to be very conscious when you do that, and you have to be very clear in your communication why you're doing that. Because, and this is just a little side note, there are a lot of guys out there that don't like that because they get pissed off that dispatch all of a sudden added another call to them because
That's
it
very
hasn't been
thorough.
clearly communicated. Hey,
Yep.
we don't want to overwhelm you. We want you to be able to take one thing at a time. And if that's all you're getting done in the day, we want to make sure that you're focused and engaged in that process.
Yep.
And then, like Travis said, if it is clearly communicated, then the technician can feel less overwhelmed and focus on one thing at one time and then move on to the next thing at the next time. But you have to be very clear in that communication. Sorry for sidetracking
Yeah.
that. It's important
No,
if any guys are going to do that, that they do
it's
that right.
it's tough. It works well like on the commercial side of things, just because those commercial customers can just kind of go over to the next day. And that's where you see a lot of that. Because some commercial jobs can just run off and take a lot longer, than normal. But it could be like set like we will give you calls up until 4 o'clock, and then after that, CSR might ask nicely, hey, would you mind taking this? But you don't have to. But at least it's point clear to the technician, hey, I don't have to expect a new call. If I'm at a job and it's already past 4 o'clock, then I know that's my last one that I'm going to get.
You want to talk about life coming off the rails? Do commercial work.
Yeah.
Residential or HVAC, do commercial work and watch your life come off the rails. You better have a plan in place if you're doing that. Time blocking. Yes, I am a big time blocker, which is part of why. And yeah, it's the ADD. If I didn't time block as like tight as I do, I wouldn't get anything done because my mind would do what it did yesterday. Pachinko, pachinko, pachinko. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. Like, I ended up in my office and I'm like, hey, I need to put this different backdrop piece behind it. And then I started doing that and I'm like, back to the garage, so time blocking is really cool. You can put it on your calendar and you can say, I have X amount of time, right? And whatever I get done on this project in this amount of time is what I get done. It's awesome. Because then hey, this is the time that I allotted. And you know what? If say it's you want to read a book, right? And you allot an hour for it and you get one chapter done. Great. You got one chapter done in an hour. But I wanted to get two. But you got one chapter done in the time that you blocked for it. Awesome. Let's move to the next time block and get that done. That's why I love, when you can schedule your days as I'm going to do this call here, this call here, this call here. Flexible. You're not going to finish a call all the time in an hour and a half an hour. So show a little grace to yourself. Or if you're the business owner, show a little grace to yourself. And to Travis's point with that as well, and time blocking. Hey, so I'm going to set aside, I'm the business owner and I'm going to set aside X amount of time to do marketing, customer retention. I'm going to send out those follow-up emails, right? Like I'm going to set that because you didn't set the automation that we talked about the other day, you're going to go out and you're going to send all those emails. Well, give yourself X amount of time to do that. Because if you don't, then your CSR is going to come pounding on your door, and all of a sudden, all the other fires of the day are going to distract you from what's actually going to move the needle, which is following up with customers, right? Customer retention. And so, yeah, time blocking. I love time blocking. I absolutely love time blocking. Set a day last week to wash the car. Last that ran out of tire glass. Ran out of price. Yeah. I love when stuff like that happens. So it's you just kind of gotta laugh, you know.
Yep.
You just gotta laugh. That's all you can do.
It's cleaner than it was before.
Right.
Try not to drive in it.
So perseverance, man. Like you're a pretty gritty dude too. What does that look like for you when you tend to be a more positive person, but I have a feeling that you've set stuff in place so that you are able to be more positive when you miss a goal. So what is your perseverance and grit? Like, how did you build that muscle of perseverance and grit?
You know, I think a lot of it just is like just your childhood growing up, too. Like, I don't know. I was lucky. My dad instilled a lot of work ethic in me at a young age. I was 10 or 11 years old. I was helping him do AC installs, because I wanted something, video game, whatever it was. He's like, well, you're going to come to work with me today, and then you'll get said whatever you want. And I'm like, down, so just a little bit of, I was never scared to work, and work hard. But I would say mainly a lot of it is just mindset. I don't want something to defeat me, like bad things can happen, but don't let it just overcome it, at whatever it takes. I'm the type of person that, yes, I love my family time, and it's a hard balance to balance things out. But if I have to put in the extra work and the extra effort, I'm going to do that to get whatever needs to be done. It doesn't matter if it could be my technicians sick or whatever. I'm not scared to go and run extra service calls or work late at night, to get that stuff done. Of course, there's a balance, on all of it, but, just don't be scared to put in the extra effort. Don't think that you're at 8 to 5, and 5 o'clock, you can shut everything down. You can do that on most nights, but sometimes, you can't. You have to put in that extra effort. Don't be scared to do it. And some people are, some people don't want to put in that extra effort. But there's a lot of things that are going to come your way, that, you can control. It could be a little bit out of your control, but, you control how you respond and how you react to it. And that's, I think, the most important thing. If a technician, gets in a car accident, sometimes you have to take a back seat. You can have all that anger, just let you calm down and make a good decision, whether, if it's something that's been repetitive with that technician, then you might have to let them go, but just calm down. Don't make a rash decision on anything, business wise, I like to at least calm down for like an hour or two, like, because any accident that happens in my vehicle, I'm like livid at the very like short term. Like, I just have to like settle myself down, and just take a deep breath and like, hey, everything's fine. It's, what you pay insurance for, but that's my mindset, to it, is just to have a positive look and try to turn something into a learning experience for either myself, or if a technician had an issue, just kind of give them word of wisdom. It's not a bad thing. Like, for instance, this wasn't like a bad thing or anything, but of course I'm on vacation. So I have my newer technician that's running service. He doesn't have the crazy experience like that I do. He was on a GE dishwasher, that everyone loves to work on. But
that was the only dishwasher I actually enjoyed working on, because they were just so stupid that I knew exactly what to do with them. I just got
They're easy.
such a
They just
routine.
everything just always fails on them.
Well,
But
yeah, it all fails. So you just,
you
make the
know,
customer aware it's all going to fail. So here's the reality.
so he went out on a control board, or he went out on no power, and he saw that the LED wasn't lit up on the control board, so he ordered a control board. Normally, I'll order both the UI and the control board just to have both on hand, and I would explain to the customer, you know, it's more than likely just the board, but there is a percentage chance that the user interface failed just because we've had this issue before. This is the cost for the board. If for any reason we need to do both, this would be the cost.
Right.
Um,
Chicken or the
yeah,
egg, which one fried the other
yeah.
one?
So he went out there with the board, and because it was in stock in town, so he just scheduled it for the next day. But went out with the board. LED lights up now, but the user interface does not light up. So the customer was like a little frustrated, and he gave him the cost. And then I see an email that rolls through, that they emailed back on the invoice saying that they wanted a refund, or whatnot. So I asked my CSR, I was like, hey, what happened on this one? And they're like, oh, he's just frustrated because it was this price and now it's way, way more. And I was like, the user interface board's like $60. I was like, call him up, tell him we'll give it to him for free. Like we're
Yeah.
still making money on the job. We charge $360 or whatever. The main board's like 80. The user interface is like $68. I'm like, just make the customer happy. And then I get an email like 5 minutes later, saying like, awesome customer service. Like, I really appreciate it. Just a little thing that, you're still making money. It's not going to put you out of business, and you just, prove to the customer that you'll do what makes it right. Now, that doesn't work in every instance, because sometimes, you would be losing way more money, and you're like, then you just try to meet halfway with customer,
Well,
but at least.
Or you have a customer who is literally just out for blood, and you have to realize that they're not your customer. So
Yeah.
you have to be
You have to
conscious
gauge the
of that.
room.
Yeah.
Because there's some they just want something for free, and you can sniff that out pretty quick and easy. This one just seemed like they're just kind of like bummed that it was now cheaper for the repair. Now it's getting the cost of like a new dishwasher and stuff like that. And he was just a little upset. There was a little bit of a mistake on my tech, not doing an add-on price. He was doing like the full parts and labor price on our price book. So, it was a sticker shock to the customer, saying like, man, I was thinking I was getting my dishwasher fixed, and now I'm having to go look for a new dishwasher, which we know is a pain too, so I just made it right. I nipped it in the butt.
This is what I was. I bet you that tech is not going to make that mistake again. Once you make that mistake and you have that customer that pissed off, you tend to learn from that, or you should learn from that.
There is someone in Service Alliance that just complained that they did a commercial, unit and went on and did a compressor, and then the guy complained that the compressor was loud and didn't want to pay for the job, because he didn't have anything collected up front. It's like, you learn that mistake, and everyone in the deal, like credit card on file, which is something. If even with the homeowner, my policy is if the homeowner's not going to be there, or if it's commercial property, we need a credit card on file, and we just collect those amounts up front, at least on the commercial side of things. The residential side of things is a little bit different, but commercial, they get paid like up front if it's a small ticket. If we're doing a walk-in cooler that's, a evaporator replacement, that's $5,000, they're still paying half down, and then they'll pay the second half upon completion. But
for sure,
you got to have stuff in line so you don't do all that work and you lose your time, and now you got a $400 used compressor technically, that you don't want either. So it's sometimes you got to learn the hard way though, but.
Well, and I think so. You hit on an important topic. This is probably part of why you and I get along so well. You're 10, 11 years old, and you wanted something, and your dad's like, well, you can come and work for me. I'm in 5th grade, and my dad, you want money for what? Get a good job, right? Like, and he calls my godfather up. I posted the other day that I took my daughter to the farm that I worked on when I was a kid. And that was not, I was very serious about that. In 5th grade, my dad sent me to my godfather. I vividly remember my godfather coming in his little square body Ford pickup truck at 6 o'clock in the morning, heading out to bale the hay, right? And I did that until I was a junior in college. But you begin to learn that work ethic. Now you took it and you looked at the positive of everything. And this is why mindset matters. Because I was always a worst case scenario. My dad was a bastard. We did not get along until I was 21 years old. Did not have a good relationship. And so you can see the paths diverging, right? Travis and his dad going one way, my dad and I going the other way. And it's all mindset. It's all in how you pivot and look at things. Now, I'm in a different place now, right? Like Doug teases me about being the mindset coach, but it's because I've had to do so much work to catch up and to change my mindset, change the habits that have been built in over the years. But yeah, it's that work ethic. It's that willingness to work, and it's that willingness to plan ahead and know that things are not always going to go the right way. And then how do you respond versus reacting, right? Like that first 5 minutes is Travis reacting, right? He shared like accident pisses me off. Like I'm good and hot. That's the reaction. But he has things built in that allow him to step back. And then when he goes to the technician or the CSR or the customer, he can respond out of that reaction, right? He has the initial reaction, but he doesn't do anything with it. He takes a step back, and then he's able to respond in the way that he should. So that's just a little nuance there for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, like my dad, it kind of like similar to yours, like we got along. It's just my dad he would react more, and he would react with yelling or putting down. So whenever I worked with him, that was a lot of like what I had to deal with. And my thing is like it pissed me off, but I had to get over it. It's like there's still a job to be done, like, and going negatively on a lot of things, just takes a lot more energy, and I didn't like the way that I felt, all the energy that I was burning on like being upset or mad, that it's like have, I can stay this way, or I could just, move on from it and be in a good mood, because that's all I cared about, and then eventually I got to the point where, it was like every day, and I'm like, dude, I just want to wake up, do my service route, be happy, and go home and relax and not deal with crap. And that's why I opened my business at 25, when I first, opened up my business, and I've learned a lot from it. But, super young on owning a business, but I've had a lot of appliance repair, experience, just because I started when I was 16. So, I was like 9 years in, I was like, I can do this on my own. Like my wife runs the office at this point, and I'm running mainly all the service. I'm like, why don't I just go and do it all myself? And he wasn't happy at the very beginning, of that, because of course I ran a lot of the calls, but he came around. He's like, well, you know what? That's more power to you. You're making 100% of the money. I'm making 100% now, like everyone's, in a good deal, but yeah, it's a lot, you learn from bad things that happen, it's like we've said over and over and over, just how you respond.
Yep. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys out there to kind of know that like you need to plan ahead. And how do you plan ahead? Well, you're going to set some goals and you're going to write them down, right? And then when things happen, when things don't go the way that you want or the way that you thought they should go, you're going to remember that that's a distinct possibility. And because you have your goals, you can check in with yourself. You can be consciously curious and go, is there anything that I could have done? If so, what should I have done or not done? Was there nothing that I could do about it? This is just reality, and I need to be gritty and persevere. And then you're going to learn to take that step back after the initial reaction and learn to respond to whatever's next, and then continue to put that right foot and left foot and just keep taking step at a time until you get to where you're going.
Yeah, don't be scared to fail. Failure is a part of growth. If you are not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing yourself. There's a lot of people that don't want to fail. They just, they play it safe. Just know that, if you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself, you're not trying, to improve. Just learn from your failures, learn how you react to your failures, because that is what is the most important thing. Because I react to failure a heck of a lot better than I did when I first opened my business. It is one thing that you want to become like a pro at, it's how you react to failure, because it's going to happen. Just don't be scared of it. You can do all
and
the
you're never
planning.
done learning that. Like, you're just
Yeah.
never done learning that at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, if you take nothing else away, set goals, learn how to time block in some manner. You don't have to be as nuts as Rob and I are about it, but you do have to do some form of time blocking to make sure that you're not just wasting the day. Those are my two big learn these things for today. It's been fun, man. I hope you have a good rest of your vacation. Enjoying that change of pace, change of place, enjoying that family time.
It's been nice, Got another day at the beach and then back to Austin for a day, so.
Yeah. That's not a real brick wall either, by the way.
No, I helped y'all out because look, this is what you'd have to deal with. Other than that, look, that's like the nobler, you get to see a fan. I kind of thought, that you guys would appreciate the not this look. And then we had this one to choose from. I'm just not a big piano guy. Like, I don't know. I'm not on that level yet. So I downloaded one of my pictures on my computer. That's for my price book. So you get an LG fridge just makes me happy every time I see one. So, I mean, I have to put that in, like
money.
It makes me in a good mood,
So I think it was Oliver posted the other day at the line of LG compressors. Thank you, LG, for R600. And I was dying. Anyway.
And Brecco's, I posted, I think it was on that one, I was like, no, I think they're Brecco compressors, because it's like,
oh yeah, they were.
The engineers at Brecco were just laughing at LG, because Brecco they had their contract with LG, so their compressors were in LG, and then that was right when they got rid of Brecco compressors. LG made their own compressor, and then they're all failing. So that they had to have been laughing. Now it's like they're getting that sour taste in their mouth because their compressors are sucking now too.
I'm convinced it's a refrigerant, but
100%.
It's a great principle, but there's some things that need to be engineered out first in what I'm seeing.
I feel like it's the refrigerant. It's the lack of the amount of refrigerant going with variable speed compressors. They'll figure it out on what's failing on them, but it's going to take time. It's like with anything new.
It's a really efficient refrigerant, but I think there needs to be more volume, which then there needs to be more system volume, right? Like, there needs to be more tubing to accommodate the increase in refrigerant volume, because there's not enough cooling coming back to the compressor. I think that's wearing components, and they'll figure it out. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. When you have such a negative pressure, coming on your low side, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that, we shall see, but for the time being, it gives us a job, and
job security.
Just don't be scared to work on R600. It's not that bad.
It is not.
Yeah.
It is not. So our book club, we are moving on to the next book. We finished that very painful 4 agreements. The 4 agreements in and of themselves are great. Like the actual 4 agreements, great. I'll post them sometime. But the book itself was like you had a word limit with the publisher because this is just like a bunch of gibberishy hippie dippy nonsense. Like you're just stream of consciousness. Um, our next book, which is something I'm very passionate about, which may lead to a mastermind for all access members, a smaller mastermind of people who want to level up leadership. But 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell is going to be our next book club book. Shoot me a message, shoot Doug a message if you're interested, shoot Rob Jones a message. Not that he'll pay attention to it because he's hardly on Facebook, but let one of us know that you want to be a part of it. We'll get you connected in for that. This is how serious I take it. I got the workbook so I can process through and make it valuable for you guys as we do this book club. So I am assuming the best, that he really tried his hardest and that he earned his paycheck and hit his word minimum. So computer well, yeah, so that's some of it too. That's some of it, but that has to do with the manufacturers not putting enough cooling capacity coming back to the compressor, because what cools the compressor in most of these? Yes, you have the fan, but internally you need that cold refrigerant coming back to cool the compressor. Like it's twofold. Yes, you can have a fan on it, but you need cold refrigerant coming back to chill that compressor down.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned on like the fridges being like that. They test these units in extreme environments. Like if they can hang in a garage with it being extreme heat and doing okay, like I don't think a 70-degree home with it like that is that bad. They put the spacers in the back so the fridge can't be pushed all the way up against it. They draw from the ground. There's It's not a lack of airflow. Now, I do think if the condenser coil is not cleaned, then that's just going to you don't have that much space, for failure. So if you get a dirty condenser coil and it's in a tight spot, then you're on like the acceptable passable airflow level, and now it just goes into the red.
Well, so like the picture behind you, right? Like that is the perfect example of why being too tight is a problem, because what homeowner is going to try and jam their fingers in there and pull that unit out? None of them, which is going to lead to a crapped up condenser, which is going to lead to a whole bunch of other bad things. So that's actually more the problem than lack of
My
airflow.
my biggest beef is with the engineers on these refrigerators. Why is it only that Sub-Zero has a clean condenser light? Like we have replace your water filter. Why not every year a light illuminates that says need service, clean condenser? Just
Because
to
it
let
costs 5 extra cents.
yeah, it'd save LG a lot of warranty, or other manufacturers. All these variable speeds do not need dirty condenser coils, because what happens is a lag in the freezer compartment. The board will say, hey, we need to jump up to higher speed to adequately cool, which then just makes it worse. It's just
Compounding it.
Yep. So maybe we just need to be on them every time we see an LG booth, yell at them.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the reality of it. Let's go to this. If you are in a home as a service technician, it is your job to educate the customers. And Travis does it well. What does Travis do? Travis has the subscription model going for his customers. Well, he'll go out and he'll clean those condenser coils once a year. So your job is to educate your customers, be impeccable at your word, and teach them what they need to know and offer them a path to be able to get that service. Not all of them are going to take care of it when they have, $1,300 repair on their $4,000 refrigerator. That's on them for not taking advantage of simple maintenance. But you have to provide a pathway for that, you know.
I'll have to. I know that they have new air codes for their compressors being weak, and I believe that's a CL, but I don't think that that's the clean condenser, because it's like a cooling deficiency, which normally is the compressor's already out at that point. But those just started the last, I think, couple years that they started coming out with the air codes for the actual cooling side of things whenever things don't cool adequately. But I haven't come across one that all I needed was just to blow out the condenser coil. Normally, when that's dirty, it's already too late in a lot of these variable speed compressors. That's just they're so fine tuned and so finicky, and that's why it's so important. That's why it's like mind boggling to me that the manufacturers just won't put a clean condenser. They put a water filter light on it. They put the darn air filter light, for that does not matter whether it's there for the fresh air, put clean condenser. It's kind of simple.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a good day. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I gotta go do some live sound. I got 3 days of live sound. Run in front of house for a festival. I'm excited. It's a good time. Yes. So it is, and I'm gonna make a post, but it is 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Shoot myself or Mr. Doug Shear, that face. Either one of us a message to let us know you want to be a part of the book club. So with that, enjoy your weekend.
Joining this time. Yep.
Yeah. Have a good day, guys. See you
Bye,
later.
guys.